Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Ask Professor Felix. Today, we'll be talking about something very important, the breast pumping day. And one would want to ask, what is the breast pumping day? It is not, an effort to enhance the breasts so that it will look beautiful or some kind of beauty pageant. It's simply creating awareness of the importance of breast pumping as an alternative to the normal natural breastfeeding. And then it's also important to celebrate inclusivity, ensuring that every woman who is expected to breastfeed, has an opportunity to do that, whether the woman is working or the woman has something difficult or some kind of difficulty in having breastfeeding. So the question again that we will ask is, what is the breast? Every one of us, one way or the other, knows what the breast is. And the breast is a glandular organ that is available both for the man and for the woman. And from the time of puberty, the breast begins to develop. The difference between the male breast and the female breast is basically the changes, because both of them have fibrous fibroglandular tissue. They also have fatty tissues. But the male breast has less influence, or rather it is less influenced by hormones such as progesterone, estrogen, and then of course prolactin. These hormones are very active in the female, and so they help the breast to develop significantly. And the primary function of the breast, first and foremost, is to be a factory to produce milk, which is needed for breastfeeding our children. And then let me even add again, the breast is the only factory that produces food both for the young and for the adults. Well, for the young, that is the infants, it provides the nutritional component. For adult males, the breast also provides, in quotes, an emotional component of feeding. And so it's a focus of sexuality. And so today, why are we actually talking about breast pumping? Breast pumping is important because there are some women who cannot breastfeed for various reasons. Perhaps it may be due to some medical conditions. It might also be due to the fact that the children or the infants are unable to suck properly, and so you need to find an option trying to provide that alternative. It is also possible that the breast may be producing too much milk, much more milk than the child can consume. So you need to find a way to make use of the excess. It is also possible that the breastfeeding mother may be incapacitated. Some of them are working class women who, for one reason or the other, do not have the opportunity to constantly breastfeed their children. So they resort to this healthy alternative. Of course, we all know that when a woman breastfeeds the infant or the child, there is improved mother and child bonding. However, in this circumstance, we just make do with what is possible, what is available. And so, how is breast pumping done? Breast pumping usually can be manual. You use a form of a machine that can be manually extracting, or can use a battery to extract the milk, and then the milk is stored or refrigerated properly in a hygienic container for the child to use when it is necessary. So how is breast pumping done? The woman possibly will use a sterilized breast pumping machine that is clean and hygienic, stays in a private space, and has everything that is required, in the comfort, in her personal comfort, to extract the milk. The milk is now put in a container, refrigerated, sometimes maybe up to four days at max, and sometimes it may even be frozen and kept for a slightly longer period. There are situations also where we find out that the breast cannot naturally flow when the child is sucking. So breast pumping helps to support this process and ensure that the woman's breast is not engorged, the woman's breast is not enlarged and having too much milk than it is expected to have, because of course this causes a lot of discomfort, and sometimes the drainage or may be blocked, and if that happens, infection may also be a possibility. So the chances are that when breast milk has been pumped and ultimately stored, there are some potential challenges that can also occur, and we need to be aware of these potential challenges. One is the fact that when you store milk products improperly, then you can get infected, bacteria can grow, and then that becomes poison instead of the food that we intend it to be. And then of course the breast pumping machine has to work properly. It has to work properly. And why do you need to make it work properly? If it's not working properly, it can affect the drainage part of the breast, and so make life a little bit complicated. Of course, we must never forget to sterilize, clean up the breast pumping machine to ensure that it does the function which is expected to do. Now, let's also look at some other things that people might want to talk about, and that's a lot of people have some misgivings about breast pumping. It's just an alternative. While we encourage that women, as much as possible, breastfeeding mothers should do the natural breastfeeding, there are options if one is unable to do the natural breastfeeding, and there are actually instances where perhaps a woman has a baby and the baby died, and yet the breast is still producing milk, and there's no way to suck that milk out. So you need a breast pumping machine to be able to express this milk out. Sometimes if the breast is also producing too much milk, you can pump and dump, meaning you pump it, but the child is not going to have take this breast milk, and then you dump it. Ultimately, today we are raising this awareness to ensure that people understand how important it is, and that there's an alternative for those who cannot do a natural breastfeeding, for those who, for logistic reasons or for some health conditions, cannot actually express their breast, or rather allow the infant to suck the breast. And so it's an important day, and I hope that we've been able to make people understand how critical it is, because breast milk is the best kind of milk, or rather the best kind of food for the growing infant. Until I come your way again, I remain your Prof. Felix Erondo. You grab.